Welcome. And welcome to the Alex Urbina radio show. We're live today in the KHTS studio in downtown Newhall, California. And joining me on the show is my show producer and board operator, Mr. Andrew Delgado. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Alex.
And Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.
You're supposed to let me know that the mic's not in front of me.
I'm over here with buttons and everything else.
Today we're going to be talking about how to become a better husband in 2019 and how to improve your marriage in the process. So I'm going to go down a list of 12 different tips that I've created, and I'm just going to toss them out at you, Andrew, and we'll just chat about them. How's that sound? Open up some possibilities, not only for people that are listening to learn, discover, and grow a little bit more about themselves, how to improve themselves in their relationships, but also myself, just in case you didn't know, my process of personal growth, it's a lifelong journey, and it's also continuing to get inside the gap and continue to learn, develop, and grow myself. So this is also a recap for me constantly. So number one is, first, you have to decide that you want to become a better husband. That's number one. You got to just decide that that's what you want to do. And what's amazing is that some people, most people, just don't decide that they need to work on that area.
You said
of their
that.
lives.
I think everybody thinks that I assume everybody thinks that I'm fine. Why? I'm living my life. Everything's great. I go to work, come home, do what I got to do. I'm fine. I'm great where I'm at. No one says, "Oh, I could be better." Like, who says that?
That's right. I think just as it's kind of in our DNA as human beings to not try to fix something that doesn't seem to be broken. However, if you've decided that you want to improve the quality of your life in all areas, at some point you got to be willing to look at it and go, all right, I'm ready now to commit to this. And so it starts with you just having a decision, right? Checking in with yourself and saying, you know what? I want to be a better husband for my wife. I want to be a better husband for my spouse, my partner, whoever you've committed to share your life with in a relationship. So that's number one, is you just deciding that you want to become better. Because prior to that, you just live in the illusion that you just are better, or you are what you are, and that's good enough.
Yeah, like you reach the peak of your greatness, I guess.
That's right. And, you know, a lot of times you will find husbands that will be up upon a decision where they're facing their spouse now unhappy in their marriage. And for a lot of times, the husband will be surprised because the wife will have been feeling like this for 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 years, and them living in the illusion that they don't necessarily have to change or need to change until it's too late, until it's ran its course and the relationship is just already broken, and now your spouse wants a divorce, and then you're sitting with that kind of result, right?
Right. So you have number one. You're saying, great, I want to change or be better, not change necessarily, but be better. What's that first step? How do you approach that? Like, okay, I'm going to be better. What do you do?
Well, that comes to number two, my number 2 tip, which is out of that decision to change, right, and become a better husband, you have to make an authentic commitment to personal growth. So just because you want to be a better husband or a better human being doesn't necessarily mean you're just going to be it just because you want to be that. You have to make an authentic commitment. And this is where the distinction commitment comes in. You have to commit. Like it's part of your daily ritual of being mindful and aware of putting some practice and some effort into changing or growing, but it's a commitment. It's not just an idea, because if it's just an idea and it's just a want that just comes and goes, then you're not going to have any change. There's not going to be any results, anything different. Your partner on the other side is not going to experience anything different than what you just do by default. So out of that decision to change, you have to make an authentic commitment to personal growth. So in other words, you got to be a student. You have to go back to being a student and learning what love is. You have to learn about what relationships are. You got to go back to school and really start studying those two distinctions, because the more you study them and become aware of them, you become better at them. You just become a better student in those two areas. So you got to be willing to learn, discover, and grow, and be able to evolve into that loving, patient, understanding, and compassionate man that just ends up showing up one day as that better husband.
And what does that look like? Because I can say, yeah, I could be better. Yes, I am committed But what does that really? That's pretty much just saying it out there. What's something I can actually do? Maybe the step 1, or step 3, whatever we're at.
Well, let's look at whatever you commit to. Let's take sports, for example. If you're committed to being a better athlete in a specific sport, what do you think? Give me 3 things that you just immediately out of that commitment, you just up your game in. When it comes to doing this, right?
Right, doing this.
Right? You're going to work harder. So you're probably going to double your practices.
Right.
You're going to put more time into your craft, learning. You're going to do some research. You're going to buy some products. You're going to invest in yourself. You're going to get yourself a coach or a new coach or an additional coach. You're going to do some fundamentals in the process of deciding that whatever you're committed to, you want to have the breakthrough or create those kinds of results. Now, I don't want to spell it out for people, but out of that commitment of being a better husband, you have to put that commitment into play. So for one is, I would think that you would probably want to get yourself some kind of a mentor or a coach, or order a program or buy some books, be a part of a support group, plug into your local church. You got to do something. The doingness does have to show up, but it comes out of the authentic commitment. Those are the ways of being first. You got to be committed, and then out of that commitment comes the ideas of what you need to start doing.
Okay, yeah, that really helps, because the way I am and the way my friends are, my guy friends are, most of them, we have to see that rules. Do this, and then this one, and then this next, and then you'll finally get there. There's some work in between those where it's not so clear, and doesn't work for everybody, but at least you get a list or something to follow.
And that's the benefit of having a coach or hiring a coach or getting somebody to actually walk that journey with you, that can make some suggestions or give you some homework. For example, when I have clients that are committed to working in a certain area of their life, I actually give them homework to do every week. Week by week, they have homework, and they have to be accountable to those results or completing that homework. And every time we sit down, they're checking in with me regarding the results, the breakthroughs, the breakdowns, and then we talk about them. And then when I leave, I give them some more homework. So it's, again, it goes back to being a student. You got to be a student of whatever it is that you've committed yourself to. I'm just wondering how many people actually committed to being a better husband as part of their New Year's resolutions or their, resetting of their goals for the year.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like,
I think
you got to
it would
ask
actually be pretty low, because you have the exercise and stuff out there. But like I said, people don't really think, let me be better husband. They kind of let me be better, like I said, about the exercise and be more fit and things like that, but not more of a better husband. So this actually really helps, and I'm sure people are listening and tuning in and like, oh yeah, maybe I can do that.
Well, that's why we have these discussions, is to open up a new possibility for somebody to look at something that they don't realize they're either not being or not doing. It's like putting a spotlight into the corner where the shadows are. You go, oh my God, I didn't know that corner existed because there's no light in there, right? So we're talking about this possibility of deciding to become a better husband because you see the value of it, because your relationship just becomes that much important to you, and having somebody to share your life with for the rest of your life is something that is important to you, right? Number 3 is you have to be willing to learn how to heal yourself. You got to be willing to learn how to love and accept yourself. And you have to be willing to learn how to complete your past so that it frees you up to be able to give into the relationship, not take from the relationship. So heal yourself. You have to learn how to love and accept yourself, and then you got to learn how to complete your past.
All
so
right,
what jumps out at you in that?
It was just complete that whole thing. It was kind of not confusing, but what's another way to word that? Like completing yourself and loving yourself, and because I can just say, yeah, I love myself, sure.
Well,
how do you really?
Well, everyone, if you ask them if they love themselves, probably 99.1% is going to say yes, they love themselves, right? But how many people love themselves unconditionally, and to the point where that they fully accept who they are? Like, do you accept your big nose? Do you accept that you don't look like the Adonis? Do you accept your weight? Do you accept your height? Do you accept the color of your skin? Do you accept everything about you, your weirdness, your core, everything that you're in judgment of yourself? Have you learned how to accept all of it? Not some of it, but all of it, because you love yourself for who you are. Have you gotten to that stage yet? And if you say no, well, then there's an empty space, a gap for you to get into and figure out, how do I become that person?
Yeah.
How do I learn how to love absolutely everything about myself and accept myself for who I am and give myself a break from time to time because I'm a work in progress? But you don't know how much you don't love yourself until you decide to go down a journey with somebody who's going to point out to you all the times that you're not showing up as loving yourself. Does that make sense? Like right now you go, I love myself.
Yeah.
But if I was hanging around you 24/7, I would stop you and point out all the times you go, dude, that's not loving yourself. Or I would question you, like, is that really you loving yourself fully? You dogging on yourself or putting yourself down or beating yourself up? There's probably hundreds and thousands of things that you do in your mind where you judge yourself, you criticize yourself, you beat yourself up in your head that no one else can see you're here. Now, is that loving and accepting yourself?
Yeah, you got me there. I'm like, dude,
Exactly.
Is it or
that's the point I'm trying to say is that there's areas that you might not really realize where you still have areas of growth. So when I say love and accept yourself, I'm talking about the possibilities that you don't even know that are available for you to love and accept yourself at that level. And then to heal yourself. There's a lot of us that have gone through some traumas in our childhood, in our family life, from fathers who have left us or abandoned us, or tragic events that have happened that have scarred us. We've gone through so much emotional pain and dramatic things that have happened in our neighborhoods, in our culture. We've seen things or been exposed to things or been hurt or taken advantage of, or we carry pain with us that we still walk around in our 20s, in our 30s, in our 70s. We carry all that emotional baggage with us, and we've never learned how to heal. No one has stopped us, pointed out to us that there's some stuff that's getting in our way, right? Our past and all that emotional baggage that we don't realize it seeps out. It comes out in this loving moment. There's an opportunity for me to be loving and compassionate and vulnerable and create this amazing moment with my wife. And all of a sudden I get triggered and then I explode or get angry. And I don't realize that there's stuff underneath that I'm still carrying with me because I never healed from that. So that's what I talk about when I'm talking about healing yourself. I'm talking about this whole other possibility that you're not fully healed. And what would it look like if you could go down that journey and heal yourself? I don't know why there's this weird concept about having a therapist or doing therapy. It's like there's this negative connotation in today's world.
Yeah.
But therapeutic environments and therapy and coaching and having somebody to help you heal yourself is the most amazing gift you can give yourself, because by going through that process, you open up so many of the things that you can't see that are available for you.
Right, and I think it has been that way regarding therapy and kind of looking inward as something that, because you see it as something as you're broken, and that's bad. But in recent times, in the past couple of years, it's actually changing, where more people are going to therapy, but it still has that negative connotation for people that haven't seen that yet. And I think don't see it as you're broken. It's just you can be better. And this is the conversation we're having, be a better husband. You're not a broken husband, but you can be better.
Absolutely. And I love that you brought up the word broken. Nobody is broken. There's no such thing as broken. Yeah. It's a concept that somebody created that is very easily available for us to grab onto and try to, wrap ourselves around that blanket called broken. We're not broken people. We just have gone through some things that we haven't learned how to complete or release or let go or make sense of in a way that frees us up to be in the new present moment without carrying some of that pain with us. And that's the part where I talk about healing. There's, broken hearts that we have from a dozen or a couple dozen times as kids in our childhood where we just got our heart broken for whatever reason, whether a promise wasn't kept to us or we trusted somebody and they let us down. I mean, we got a lot of that history that we carry with us unconsciously and don't realize that by bringing that into our present moment, we taint the present moment and we sabotage what could be this beautiful relationship with somebody, and we have no idea that that's happening. So, like, here's an example. Let's say my wife really wants to be able to have a deep, meaningful, vulnerable, intimate relationship with me. And there are certain things that still get in my way of allowing myself to be vulnerable or to let my wall down and to be intimate or to hold her hand or to share whatever I'm afraid of or to share with her and reveal some of the things that are going on inside that my ego doesn't want me to reveal. Now, if I'm healing myself and I'm going through this process of learning, growing, discovering, and evolving, I can get to that stage where I can decide to trust her enough to share all of my inner thoughts, all of my fears. And I think that most women would sign up to say, I want that. I want that guy. I want that possibility of having that person as my partner, not this macho, tough guy that has to be the warrior all the time. It's good to have somebody protect you and be the warrior and step up and rise to the occasion and protect the family and do all that stuff. But sometimes they want you to be vulnerable and to, hold their hand and sit down and cry with them or to share your fears and let them in. They're looking for a real true partner. And sometimes our baggage can get in the way of us being a great partner with our spouses. Number 4 is to practice being more self-aware. It's the art of truly knowing yourself. You have to be willing to practice the art of mindfulness, like being in the present moment and really observing. You got to be hyper aware of observing everything that's happening, from my thoughts to my choices to other people's their state, the things that they're saying, how they say them. When you practice being mindful and aware and highly present in the moment, you can see things that you weren't able to see before. So you have to really practice being more self-aware and being able to reflect on your own state of mind. And you got to be in tune with your own fears, your own doubts, and all the other insecurities that might be getting in the way of you actually tapping into your full potential, or even some of the things that could possibly be sabotaging your current relationship. What jumps out at you in that?
It was because I actually had a question, was what is the difference between that and kind of, because I do this a lot, think about what I'm going to say, which you should think about what you're going to say, but I think about the reaction to what I'm going to say, and then the reaction to that reaction, and it piles on before I even think about it. So I think about it too much of what I'm going to say, and then I play the scenarios, the thousand scenarios that happen, they're out, but then they never happen, and I get stuck in that. And then sometimes I don't even say it because I know what you're going to say, or I think I know what you're going to say, and then I don't say anything, and then it's back to, well, why don't you ever share that with me? Because I think you were going to get mad or blah, blah, blah.
I'm so glad you brought that up. There's a distinction between being self-aware and psychoanalyzing. And what you described is you have this monkey mind that psychoanalyzes everything 10, 20, 30 steps down the line. And you go down so many different scenarios that you end up just talking yourself out of just sharing. Yeah. Instead of going, all right, I'm feeling a little bit nervous right now. I want to share with my wife that I'm really feeling nervous and I'm feeling this anxiety. And then stop. Instead of going, okay, if she says this or if she says that and she says it, and before you know it, you're going down this tunnel. You can't go down the tunnel. You got to shut the brain. The self-awareness is just you checking in with going, okay, I'm afraid and starting to feel this anxiety. And then from there, you stop and then have the courage to share and let her in to see that part of you. And then open up that discussion. Hopefully you're creating a moment for her to be there for you or share a different perspective to help you shift, to have the moment right here. You're in your head having multiple moments of scenarios you're not even present because you're in your head psychoanalyzing what could be happening and what if that happens, and you live in the what if game.
I really do live there.
And the what if game is it's a game that your ego is designed to keep you up in your head, not being present in the moment. So there's a difference between being self-reflective and self-aware and psychoanalyzing. And it sounds like you have this disease called psychoanalyzing, where you can psychoanalyze something to death to the point where you just go, oh my God, I'm exhausted. I don't even want to share it no more. And then you get, then you get her going, how come you never share with me?
Yeah. My partner goes, why do you never share with me? And then it's because I go down the rabbit hole.
Now, have you explained,
scenarios.
But do you explain to her even that? Do you say, honey, you know what? It's not about you, or it's not about me not wanting to share with you. Like, I totally have this phobia of sharing whatever is honest about what I'm feeling. And my mind goes on and creates so many scenarios that I psych myself out. Right.
And
do you ever reveal that to
her?
That
I don't. And because then I psychoanalyze.
That's right.
I psychoanalyze.
That's
and it's like the snake eating itself.
That's right.
Which I know I have, but it still plagues me.
Yeah, it's a condition that your ego has created. It's like a survival mechanism. It for whatever reason never wants to reveal your true inner thoughts, your true feelings, your true fears, because of the fear that if you expose that, she's going to use that against you or going to hurt you with it. So there's a whole other dynamics of stuff that you got to really figure out how to overcome that. And if you do that, then you're going to now start to share a little bit more intimate with your loved one. All right, we got to take a short break. When we get back, we're going to jump right back into the list. Stay tuned for more of the Alex Urbina radio show right here in your hometown station, KHTS.
Santa Clarita, bedbugs are taking over our city. They've invaded our homes, our businesses, and most importantly, our sleep. If you have suspicious bites that appear nightly, or have a bug that you need ID'd, your best option is to make one call to All Pro. We offer a 100% guarantee that your bedbug issues will be solved with heat in one treatment. No need to tent or spray your house with chemicals. Heat is all you need. Call 661-298-2200 or text me a bug picture to 661-645-0540. It's time to sleep tight again, STV.
We know sometimes people lose their way. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, The Way Out Recovery may have the answers you've been waiting for. The Way Out is the premier intensive outpatient treatment center treating Santa Clarita. Asking for help is the first step. Please call The Way Out today, 661-296-4444, and ask for Bob or Melissa for a free assessment. The Way Out is an accredited, affordable outpatient program, and they accept most insurance. They can improve your life. Call The Way Out, 661-296-4444. That's 296-4444. Or check them out online at thewayoutrecoveryscv.com. You can make the change. Ask The Way Out for help.
It's time for your special event. Kelly's Wedding Garden is your perfect spot. Kelly's has transformed weddings, anniversaries, company parties in the Santa Clarita Valley for decades. They have it all. Delicious food, a beautiful setting, plenty of room, and a team of professionals that can handle it all. Kelly's Wedding Garden just off the golf course in Friendly Valley. Weddings, bridal showers, bar mitzvahs, company parties, anniversaries, class reunions. Kelly's Wedding Garden is your Santa Clarita oasis for outstanding, memorable events. Discover how you can transform your event at kellysweddinggarden.com. That's kellysweddinggarden.com.
Your hometown station.
KHTS AM 1220 and the new 98.1 FM.
And welcome back to the Alex Urbina radio show. I'm your host, hanging out with Andrew Delgado, and we are talking about how to become a better husband in 2019 and improve your marriage in the process. And so I got about 12 tips that I typed out, just kind of connecting in with my spirit guides and my heart and spirit and personal growth and some of the things that I get challenged with even to this day in my journey, and always will be challenged with figuring out how to become a better husband, a better father, better son, better leader, better man in our society. And so let's go over the list. Number one was, first you have to decide that you want to become a better husband. That's number one. If you don't decide or don't see the value of it, then you're not going to make a commitment to it. Number two is, out of that decision to become a better husband, then you got to make an authentic commitment to personal growth. Just because you decide that you want to be something or achieve something, it doesn't just happen out of just purely deciding. You got to be willing to do the work necessary to become that person who creates that. And when it comes to relationships, personal growth is the fuel that helps you slowly, one day at a time, evolve into that loving, patient, understanding, compassionate man that your wife just adores and is in awe of you and really contributes to the relationship. Number 3 is you got to be willing to learn how to heal yourself. You got to be willing to learn how to love and accept yourself and complete your past so that it frees you up to be able to give to the relationship, not take from the relationship. And I know that in relationships, when all of us first start out, all of us that are unconscious, including myself, we get into and we enter into these agreements in our relationships because we're needy. I need something from you and you need something from me. And it's par for the course. However, when you start to become a little bit more aware and you start evolving and growing and working on yourself, you can get to a point where you stop needing something from the other person. And you now are freed up to be able to contribute to the relationship and not need or take from it. And that's a concept that you really have to get to that place. First, someone has to explain it to you. Then you got to understand it and go, ooh, I like that. I want to be that. And then you embark on that journey. So that's number 3. Number 4 is you got to practice being more self-aware. It's the art of truly knowing who you are and what you're about. But it's also about noticing your own fears, your own doubts, your own insecurities, and just be like hyper aware of those things that you still need to learn and overcome, and also be aware that they could be sabotaging your current relationship. That's a key, because if you have baggage from your past and your fears and your doubts and your insecurities are sabotaging your results and you have no clue, I mean, if you don't even know that that's what's happening, you're literally in the dark. You can't change anything. You can't change what you can't see, or you can't change what you're not willing to acknowledge, right?
And that's big, the whole baggage part. I know a lot of people notice they carry a lot of baggage and things like that, kind of throw it around. But it's actually a really big thing.
We all have baggage. Yeah. All of us. Every single one of us have baggage. The question is are you aware of the baggage you have? Have you had the courage to stop, open up your luggage, and look in there and go, oh my God, I got some dirty socks in this corner, and I got to go in there and keep cleaning it. And so those that decide every day to open up their luggage and clean house and clean up and reorganize stuff are the ones that are gonna moment to moment end up creating something extraordinary for themselves. Number 5 is, as you practice learning how to love and accept yourself, you have to also learn how to love and accept your spouse. Now, what does that mean? That means that there's no more trying to fix them or change them or need them to be or act in a particular way that makes you feel better about yourself. Now, when you're unconscious and you enter into relationships, that's what we try to do. We try to mold them into being the person that we need them to be.
Yeah. But kind of want them to be.
Yeah. And we don't realize that. Like if you look at younger people in relationships, right? It's like you see, if you're an observer, you're watching them trying to fix each, like, why are you slurping your soup like that? You shouldn't do that. Or why do you leave the seat, in the toilet up, or, what I mean?
Right. And I definitely noticed that with, my friends, and the biggest one is music. You listen to music, or your whole style of wardrobe has changed. And I'm like, oh, why are you changing your clothes? I'm like, oh, you're in a new relationship. That's why. I got it.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to change you. But how do those little things? Because also I hear this too, where the little things like that, where just changing your clothes, and the compromise comes in. Is there a cutoff to that, where some things are kind of okay and to change, and then some things are kind of not, I guess?
Well, you're going to go through that process of figuring out and noticing through the self-awareness of how many times you're trying to fix or change your spouse into being something that you need them to be to feel better about yourself, till you get to the point where you just learn how to love and accept them for who they are in their journey. You might not necessarily like that they slurp their soup, but you can get to a stage where you go, you know what? I'm starting to learn how to love that you do that. It's like, it's, instead of me being annoyed by it, I find it now, I've switched the perspective, and I've kind of enjoying It's like I'm learning how to love that about you instead of choosing to be annoyed that you're doing that. So it's more about it's about like creating a space for your wife to be able to be silly or to forget things or to make mistakes. It's having a little bit more, grace and to be able to learn how to love them in their journey and accept them for the breakdowns and the breakthroughs they're going to have in their journey without being so critical about their journey and it not looking the way that you feel it should be. So it's like accepting that you're on your journey, I'm on my journey, and I respect your journey and however you go about it. I'm going to try to support you in it. I can't make it or force it or control it, but I'm just going to sit back and watch and observe and love watching you, go through your peaks and valleys and your ups and downs, and I'm just glad to be a part of it. So it's a big perspective shift, and it takes personal growth and evolving to that stage. It takes wisdom and you getting to a certain stage where you can learn how to not see your spouse as broken or needing to be fixed, and learn how to love and accept her for who she is. And then being now freed up to empower her to continue to grow without forcing her or needing her to grow. But if you can get to a stage where you can just love and accept her for who she is, I think that's ultimately bliss in relationships. Number 6 is, as you're learning to be self-aware, you also have to be aware of your spouse and observe and learn and discover more about them and their needs. So as you're noticing, observing, okay, who do I need to be? What's missing from me? You also got to be aware and mindful and observing and watching what they might need from you. So for an example, if your wife comes in and she's struggling and having a hard time with whatever's on her mind, and you say something like, hey, are you okay? Some of us don't even realize that she's not okay because we're so into ourselves or into our sports or into our own thing that we just don't even observe to notice that she's struggling. She could be struggling with something. And
I was going to say how most of the times you don't even realize that. Like, because I can't even realize that. Like, oh, everything cool? Yeah. Oh, okay.
Right.
And it's done.
Right. Because we haven't practiced to be more present in the moment. The more you practice how to be present in the moment, and being present isn't just like I'm present here. It's how present are you? It's like, for me, what I'm learning is being present has different depths to it. If I'm really hyper present, I can observe everyone's state. I can pick up vibes. I can feel people's energy. I can tell when my daughter walks in, I go, how you doing today? And she goes, I'm fine. The tone and the music behind the words of I'm fine does not match up with what her face is saying.
I'm fine. You're not fine.
Exactly. So the more present you are and the more conscious you are and more aware and the more work you're doing on yourself, you become like a thermometer. You can gauge and pick up the moods of people. You can feel it. And so that's the work that you got to do, is get your thermometer so dialed in so that when she walks in and you're able to be what she needs for you, whether it's an outlet or a place to vent, or she needs to just be inspired or picked up or reminded that she's doing a great job or whatever it is, your thermometer has to go beep, 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 beep. Something's going on here. She needs my attention. Same thing with our kids as parents, being the conscious parent, the inspirational parent, the parent that's watching and observing to see what they might be needing from us. But when we have our own dysfunctions and carry all of our baggage from our past, we can't be freed up to be that thermometer for others. We can't be there for others because we're too worried about what I need from you. So imagine having two people in a relationship. The husband and the wife are both needy. They're both needing from each other, and they don't have enough to give. They're depleting each other, and that's how we can easily sabotage our relationship. What's going on in your mind? I can see your wheels spinning.
It's not just reflecting on, just pretty much thinking about, hey, did I show up that way? Was I at a point where I said, "Are you okay? Fine," and they were begging me on the inside just to ask more, and then I didn't.
That's the awareness that I'm talking about. And what I love about you sharing that is that you're willing to out yourself, especially on the radio. because your ego did not want you to share that right now. Your ego wanted you to believe that, well, I asked, and she said she was fine. But there's something deeper. Your spirit inside is going, no, honey, she wasn't fine. If you really were paying attention and looked and saw the signs, her inner child was telling you, no, Andrew, I'm not fine. Come help me right now. I need you. So it was requiring for you to not buy the superficial I'm fine stuff and go a little deeper and go, walk, sit down next to her, hold her hand and go, I'm sensing something more. What's up? And then be more of an invitation for her to trust you in that moment, to go, all right, this is what's coming up for me. They're talking about layoffs and I think I'm next and da da da. And then you just gave her permission to boom, pop it open, and she can now emotionally, verbally vomit all of those fears out. Now, by you being that instrument for her, you just freed her up from carrying more baggage into the relationship. Now, if you don't do those, later on tonight, when you guys are arguing about something silly, you're going, all I said was whatever, and she blew up. Are you starting to see a pattern of how much you're needed as a husband or as a partner in a relationship for people when they really need you in those moments? The question is are you hyper aware and present that they do need you in that moment? And then can you be that person for them? Can you be that outlet? Can you be that neutral space that makes her feel comfortable enough to share and get it off her chest without taking it personal? Because some of it might be about you.
Right. And then that's where we go back to step 4 or whatever it was, where psychoanalyze. If I ask you what's wrong, I'm opening up to you're going to tell me what's wrong with me.
That's
and
right.
I obviously don't want to hear stuff that's wrong with me, but if we follow all these steps, you're okay with hearing stuff that's wrong with you.
Right. And if you learn how to create like if I was working with you guys, I would teach you guys how to create a space where you guys can vent. And the word vent is a symbol for I need to share some stuff, get it off my chest. Venting means it's just from my perspective. So if I share that you're hurting my feelings or you're ignoring me, by me sharing that doesn't mean that that's really what you are. I'm just sharing that that's the story that I've made up about it. So if I teach you how to framework venting, you can go into any venting session with your mom, your best friend, your spouse, and they can vent all they want about you, and you're so freed up from not being tagged or taking it personal because you're hearing it from it's only what you're feeling. So then now it allows you to be sympathetic and compassionate for that's how they're feeling. You don't have to defend yourself and go, yeah, but I was only doing. You don't need to do none of that when you learn the framework of what venting is all about. So that's the work I'm talking about, is that you gotta go down that journey and start to learn some of those things. Number 7, you have to learn how to communicate honestly, right? That means that you have to be courageous enough to reveal yourself, such like the way you just did right now when you revealed to us, all of those of us that are listening on the radio, that you said, I was in my head thinking and wondering how many times did I ask her if she was okay, and she said yes, and I bought it. Now looking back in hindsight, rewinding the videotape, there were probably some signs that I could have poked a little deeper and probed, because I know in my gut that she wasn't fine. So just you saying that out loud causes that awareness, right? So you gotta learn how to communicate honestly. That means you have to be courageous enough to reveal yourself. Like I tell my clients, your job when you're sitting with me is to kind of tell on yourself. Like this is what I did this week. My wife said this and it tagged me, and I projected my fear onto her, or it annoyed me and I got angry at her. By you revealing yourself, you're hearing yourself say it, there's a new awareness about it. So it's kind of like the more you out yourself on the things that aren't helping you, the more that you're consciously aware that you can change it. But if you don't out yourself and you don't reveal and tell on yourself, it stays this little hidden secret, and you just keep showing up like that.
Cool. I think that's a good nugget right there that I take away. What you just said is, if this is like kind of difficult, like how do I start? I can see it as tell on yourself. Pretend there's 2 people there. You're the same person, and say it out loud. Like just tell on yourself. And that's your accountability. Like that's your first coach right there. If
that's
you don't
right.
have a mentor, a physical, somebody, other being, that's your mentor right there is yourself.
That's right. That's
just telling yourself.
Yeah. So imagine if one of my insecurities is that I'm stubborn, and I'm in a relationship, and my stubbornness keeps sabotaging this extraordinary relationship that I want to have with my wife. The more that I can call myself out and say out loud that my stubborn is what's getting in my way, or if I turn to my wife and go, hey, I'm so sorry that I was stubborn. It's one of the things I'm working on, right? I'm saying it to someone, and I'm hearing myself say it. If I go to my coach and go, man, I was really stubborn this week, and it sabotaged 3 different areas of my life. The more I keep saying it, the more I'm outing myself, the more I can see it. Now I can start to change it. But if I pretend that I'm not stubborn and don't say it, don't look at it, and ignore it, then I keep being like that for the rest of my life. Dying on my deathbed, not having people in my life there to celebrate and honor the legacy that I had, because my stubbornness turned people off, and therefore I died alone.
And that's so true, because I've know so many stories where people are on their deathbed, or they're these older, just living it there, and then saying, man, I wish I'd done that. And then that, like, why didn't you? And it was just because you didn't allow yourself to.
Yeah, and that's why I said that you have to have this courageous ability about yourself to reveal and to share some of that and open up and acknowledge that, yeah, this is something that I'm working on. The more you acknowledge it and the more you frame it in, it's something that I'm working on, at least you're mindful of it, and you actually start to course correct it a little bit at a time, until a year later, 3 years later, 5 years later, that stubborn guy is gone. There's just, now you can, get off of stuff, or you can, people feel safe enough to share with you without you defending yourself. You're starting to now attract this new possibilities and new people to you, because you've mastered and overcome or transcended being stubborn in your life. So this takes an enormous amount of trust when it comes to communicating honestly. But with trust, the trust that you give, you get back tenfold. When we come back from the break, we're going to jump on to the last 4. We'll kind of shoot through them. I know this is probably should have been a 2-part show, and we might do that depending on how we go with the last section. Yeah. But stay tuned for more of the Alex Urbina radio show right here in your hometown station, KHTS.
The best live theater can be found right here in the Santa Clarita Valley. The Canyon Theater Guild has been entertaining audiences for decades with top quality musicals and plays. Located on Main Street in Old Town Newhall, CTG also offers workshops for the young actor in your family. For more information, call the box office at 799-2702 or go online to canyontheater.org. Marston's Restaurant has been a Pasadena landmark, voted the best breakfast in California by the Food Network magazine. Discover Marston's Santa Clarita location, open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Marston's also has a fantastic catering menu that adds a delicious twist to any event, and they cater picnic dinners for that memorable romantic date. Experience Marston's on Newhall Ranch Road and McBean, or log on to marstonsrestaurant.com.
Hi, Santa Clarita. This is Rosemary with Beyond Harmony Med Spa with some great news about Kurt Stinson. Now, why am I telling you about a plumber? When I had a horrible plumbing situation at my house, Thanksgiving morning, house full of people, of course I called Kirk. He rushed right over, took care of our problem. The prices were so reasonable, I couldn't even believe that I was paying that on Thanksgiving Day. If you need a plumber, Kirk Stinson is the guy to call.
Plumbing by Kirk, 263-6519, or visit plumbingbykirk.com.
KHTS.
Now FM, 98.1 FM, and AM 1220, your hometown station.
And welcome back to the Alex Urbina radio show. I'm your host, hanging out with Andrew Delgado, my board op, show producer. We're talking about how to be a loving husband, more effective husband in 2019, as well as improving the quality of your relationship. We're on number 8 in a series of 12 tips that I came up with, and we've been talking a little bit more in detail about each tip. Number 8 is that you have to develop a more elaborate vocabulary. you're going to have to learn how to articulate yourself a little bit more eloquently. Did I say that right?
Yeah, it was close.
It was close. I could just kind of grind it in. Instead of responding with whatever you want, babe, or I'm good, or I don't want to talk about it right now, you're going to have to really learn how to dig deep and find some emotional honesty and give an authentic answer. Like, you know what? I'm really struggling with what you said, and I'm trying to figure out how to get past some of the anger that's coming up. Like, you gotta learn how to speak in a way that allows people to understand at least a closer version of what you're going through, instead of the automatic pilot responses like, I'm fine, right? You might as well be in a relationship with a robot, because I'm fine is just really superficial. Instead of, you know what, I'm feeling really good today, like it's a good day, everything's going good, or I'm just grateful that, that you're in my life.
Yeah, and then if you live your life that way of the I'm fine and forget it, you can't be a hypocrite and be mad of why are you not interested or anything like that to your partner in me or what I saying. Well, because you never say it in the first place. You as in me as in I never said, oh, well, let me talk about it and be open, rather than, oh, I'm okay, and wait for your partner to ask you. I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah, well, there's an invitation for you to, instead of having your wife ask you all the time, hey, are you okay? Hey, how was your day today? What I'm suggesting is that you invite yourself to come home and to create an open dialogue with just revealing and sharing whatever came up for you in the day, whatever it is that you're feeling, good, bad, right, or wrong. Allow yourself to be vulnerable and let people in to experience what Alex is feeling and what Alex is going through, what some of the challenges Alex might be having or up against, or what are some of your thoughts, or what are some of the things that you are struggling with. Let people in to experience that's what you're going through, because that's what relationships, to me, that's what extraordinary relationships are. Because there's just average, ordinary relationships, which is I'm fine, how was your day, it was good, right? It's just the superficial stuff. But extraordinary relationships, in order to create that kind of type of meaningful relationship with someone, you're going to have to learn how to strengthen your vocabulary and dig a little deeper and give a little bit more. Like, you're going to have to go down deep and check in with yourself, and then find the words to actually articulate that's what you're going through. Number 9 is that you will have to make your relationship more of a priority. That means you're going to have to cut out some of the other things in your life that are distractions, or some other things that are not as meaningful. You're going to have to give more to your partner, and there's no way really around that.
And what does that look like?
It looks like you're not watching all 12 games on Sunday of football. You're watching maybe one game, and then you're taking her out for some ice cream or a lunch or a breakfast, or like you're giving a little bit more quality time to her or your partner, your spouse, or whoever it is that you're in a relationship with. But you're going to have to make the relationship a priority. Now, some people already make their relationship a priority. So 0 to 10, if your priority is a 7, awesome. But in 2019, if you are committed to being a better husband, you got to make it an 8.9 or a 9.2. You just got to find, where can I shave off some of the things in my life that is a waste of time or a distraction, or at the end of my life on my deathbed, if what I'm focused on in this project that I'm working on, is it really even going to matter? Can I shave that off? Because sometimes we don't realize that we say yes to things that we just get excited about, but we realize that it's just a distraction. Because what's really important, what really matters to me, is creating this amazing connection with my life partner and being able to build upon that, because that's going to give me dividends for my whole lifetime. So it's more about just deciding that you want to make this relationship a priority. Number 10, you got to focus more on making her your best friend. And I know I say this a lot, when we fall in love with our girlfriend, we're attracted to them, whether it's physically or emotionally or our spirits just lock on. We're attracted. Ooh, you look hot, you're sexy, or hey, he's cute. Boom, you're attracted. And so then we jump into that physical attraction, and then we quickly become romantic, and then we don't learn how to be friends first. And so before we know it, we're fully engaged and we get married, and now we're husband and wife, but we never really learned how to be friends. And then we never went through that process of being friends and then becoming best friends. And then now you're my life partner. So you got to focus more on making your wife your best friend, the one that you trust with your heart, your life, and your legacy. And that's going to take a lot of inner work on yourself to give this woman that trust, that level of trust. Like, if anything goes wrong, you're the first person I call because you're my best friend.
I could see that, because I was about to say, it's like you tell your best friend everything, like your actual best friend, your highs, your lows, and they see your highs and lows, and they know you.
What do you mean your actual best friend?
Well, like your best friend. Not
your best guy friend.
Yeah, yes, there it is.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. Friend. She has to be
right,
your best
there it is.
girlfriend. She's got to be
your best guy friend.
Yeah. She's got to be that first.
Okay, and I can see that. But all these steps we have has to get you there to open up yourself to be there.
Yeah, it also, like, each one of these builds upon themselves, and I'm just painting this picture. This beautiful picture that people can go, wow, I want to be some version of that. I'm going to start on that, or I'm going to embark on that, or that gets to be my goal for 2019. Number 11, be more playful. Loosen up. Have more fun. Laugh. Continue to date each other. And be passionate for each other's love. I think that we get really serious in life and really rigid. And, it's kind of like what's missing in a lot of relationships that have just kind of dying out. It's like, where's the fun at? Where's the playfulness? Where are those two kindred spirits, the two 4-year-olds that like to poke each other and tug on each other's shirt? Like, if we can go back to that stage and stay in that honeymoon stage, life is grand. This relationship's going to just flourish from there. If we can keep getting ourselves back to having more fun, be more playful, loosen up, and just be in that gratitude that you're my best friend stuff. And all the good stuff, right? And then number 12 is be a team, create team goals, never give up on each other, and figure out how to have your partner win. Figure out how to have your wife win in whatever her life looks like. So if it's her own finances, her own career goals, her own commitment to her kids as a mom, if you can rally around your wife and figure out, I want to have you win, and if you win, I win. So rally around your wife, figure out how to have her win in her life, and then cheer for her, be her biggest cheerleader, and then inspire her. Figure out how to constantly remind her what a gift she is in the world. Point out all her qualities, her inner qualities that are special. The things that she forgets because she's so hypercritical of herself. You get to be that off balance and just remind her of how amazing she is. And if you guys can do that, you'll be your best versions of yourself. You'll end up being and showing up as a better husband. And I think that your relationship will truly flourish at that point.
All right. I got to go listen to the show again because there was a lot of stuff.
And bring your notebook and take some notes. How much time do we have still?
Oh, we're out.
We're out of time?
We're out.
Well,
that's it.
We might be out of time, but we're here every Friday at noon. Thanks for following me on Facebook at Coach Alex Urbina. I'm also on Instagram and YouTube. You've heard the show called The Alex Urbina Radio Show right here in your hometown station, KHTS.